Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
You're from Toronto, as you pointed out. I think you've said on this show a Leaf fan. I want them to not only beat Boston, I'd love to see them win a Stanley Cup. I want to see the whining end. I want to see the drought end. What changed in your mind from games 1 to 2 for the Leafs?
They just locked it down. They played a lot better defensively than we've seen them play as of late. And I will say something. In the playoffs, your big guys have to be your best players. Your best guys have to be the best versions of themselves. And Auston Matthews was that last night. He is the guy that makes them go. He's their driver. It starts and ends with him. John Tavares, their captain, is a huge part of that. And I thought he grinded and battled last night. They got some saves in net, which was huge. And that kind of allowed them to hold it down, especially towards the end of the game. And they're doing this without Nylander. They're doing this without Bobby McMann, who I think is a big part of their forward core. And let's be honest, I don't think Mitch Marner's had the greatest first 2 games either yet. So coming back home here with a split is about as good as you can ask for. They haven't had to go to Joe Wall yet, which I think is a pretty ideal situation for them to have your starting goaltender feeling good coming back home. And I'm like you, I want to see this team break through too. And I think last night changed a lot of people's minds about and perception about who they are. This was a team that generally couldn't play and couldn't, fight through adversity in tough games. And last night really showed that they can hold on. But your top guys have to be your best guys. And last night they certainly were.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
We're brawling this team, and the guy yells over the glass, "Go back to the NHL, Preston, you loser." Can't even say it with a straight face.
It was a good beak when we'd roll into a bigger center. They'd say, "Go back to Wynyard. Go back to the NFL where I was making more money and doing better." I'd like to. Thank you very much.
Where I was flying on the charter with the double wide leather suits and the filet mignon.
Yeah, working on it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Yes, it absolutely is. Welcome inside the RP Show on a Wednesday, a hump day. Episode number 1229 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. We continue to be coming at you on Game Plus television all across Canada and on the air in 31 U.S. states on Game Plus and on the radio where we are Atlanta's NHL show, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify. I'm here. Moose is back in the motherland, the 306. He's in the rectangle. Moose, we might as well, let's just get it out of the way. Tell everybody where you are and why you're there, and then we'll get down to business.
Yeah, flew into the rectangle yesterday. Going to be back in Regina speaking at a football dinner, a fundraising football dinner for the University of Regina Rams. I'll be hosting their dinner, but slight detour to the real motherland, the chicken capital of Canada, Wynyard, Saskatchewan. So we're visiting some family and then back to Regina tomorrow.
Awesome. Say hey to your family for me if you don't mind. And the guests, outstanding lineup of guests today put together by producer Clark, and then he left. We got Broadway Bernie Nicholls with us. Broadway Bernie Nicholls, Tori Gurley, NFL veteran with the draft tomorrow night, and Tim Peel. Really enjoy our chats with Tim Peel, so that's coming up. Hey, I just tweeted, not your average sports show. We like to have fun here. We certainly don't take each other and ourselves too seriously. Look what I'm wearing, for God's sakes. I look like a rodeo clown, and I actually like it. Producer Clark has gone to Toronto. He's going to Game 3 of the Bruins and Leafs tonight. He's gone. I don't want to say which one because this one member of our crew is more private than the rest of us, but he's got called to jury duty. I don't know if did you even know that? So, yeah.
No.
See what happens when you're a little late for the morning meeting? So, yeah, everything is happening. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please? And let's let her rip. Hey, by the way, yeah. See why I said we have fun here? A few things. Utah, Darren writes in and he says, Rod, don't go to the track. You might get mistaken for a jockey. LOL. Don't worry, I won't. He goes, love the shirt. Did I tell you that I was trying to decide 2 career paths before I settled on a broadcaster. I wanted to either be a jockey or a gigolo. No, I can't even steal this. It's Dennis Hull's line. He couldn't decide between being a jockey or a gigolo, and it turned out he was too big for one and too small for the other.
But boom. That's good.
Tuna! Where are you, Tuna? Where are you with the boom? There we go. Tell me you've heard that one before, Derek. Tell me you've heard that one.
Yeah, I knew where that was going. I knew the punchline was coming. It's still good. Just like Dennis Hall. Every time he cracks the same jokes, they're still good the third and fourth time.
Yeah, right. Oh, man, I could tell you so much. We will later. Can you settle down, Rod? Can you just tell that I'm in a great mood here? Unlike the people in Winnipeg, I'm going to read one comment, and then I'm going to get out of the comments. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes that he says, lots of tears, gnashing of teeth, and rending of garments in Winnipeg after the loss last night. But today is another day. He coached himself out of that funk all in 2 sentences. Can you hit the show horn, please, Director Jordan? And like literally, okay. The big story is clearly the Stanley Cup playoffs, so that's where we open. Number one, Arturi Lehkonen had a goal and an assist, and Colorado scored 4 goals in the second period in a 5-2 win over Winnipeg to tie the first-round playoff series at a game each. Miles Wood, Zach Parise, Josh Manson, and Valeri Nichushkin also scored for the Avs. Alexander Gorgiev made 28 saves for Colorado, a bounce-back effort after allowing 7 goals in Game 1. David Gustafsson and Mark Scheifele scored for the Jets. Connor Hellebuck stopped 27 of 31 shots. Just hang on. I'm going to just rip through the 4 games last night, then we'll settle in. And obviously, we're going to get to tonight's games. We got a lot to get to. Philip Forsberg scored a goal and had an assist, and Nashville beat Vancouver 4-1 to tie up that series 1-1. The Canucks were missing star netminder Thatcher Demko and defenseman Tyler Myers, plus most of their offense. Nikita Zadorov scored for a Vancouver team that struggled to get shots on goal, experienced a series of unlucky bounces, and it's 1-1 going to Tennessee. Casey DeSmith, in, what should we say, in the absence of Thatcher Demko, allowed 3 goals on 15 shots. In New York, Vinny Trocheck and Mika Zibanejad each had a goal and a helper, and the President's Trophy-winning New York Rangers held on to beat the Capitals 4-3. They've gone up 2-0. And here in Sunrise last night, Carter Verhaeghe lifted a backhander just under the crossbar, 2:59 into overtime, and Florida beat Tampa Bay. What was the final? 3-2 for a 2-0 series lead. Sam Bennett, who left with an injury in the second period after blocking a Brandon Montour slap shot, scored, along with Vladimir Tarasenko. And, of course, Sergei Bobrovsky stopped 21 shots, including some highlight reel saves. I could spend 2 hours talking about that, but that's not what we do here. Serena and I later on today will be recording the Cats and Bolts podcast. You see my Battle of Florida jerseys over my shoulder. I will just say the Bob save, were you watching last night, Darren? And I put that up as the greatest save in Stanley Cup playoff history ever. The only one I can think of even close is Hasek, where he rolled on his back. Very similar save, but Bob wasn't on his back. That was something last night, wasn't it?
Rod, that was unbelievable. Like, unbelievable, the save he made. I was thinking the same thing. Hasek, Curtis Joseph against the Dallas Stars, those iconic playoff saves, that save from Bob. And if they lose the game, we're probably not talking about it, right? But all those saves, I believe, those big saves, all are in wins, key stops that lead to a key playoff win. If they go on a run, we're going to watch this save. And even if they don't, we're going to watch this save over and over and over. It's going to be in every top 10 from now until forever. What a stop.
Yeah, for years. And listen, I don't want to scoop myself. This is why we started a Panthers and Lightning podcast, so we would talk about those teams. But, I mean, it is the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they're playing each other. I just want to say one thing. Even our man Tuna, who's producing the show in the absence of Clark today, he said the South Florida fans must be really excited with the Panthers up 2-0. And I said, oh, yeah, they are. What you saw in the rink last night is insane with the towels. It's great. I sat beside a guy from Czech Media Services. His name is Mike Gavik, and he's a very funny guy. I got to know him when we went over to games in Tampa this year. He follows the Lightning, and he sends interviews back over to Czech. That's what he does. And he said, I predict tonight 4-1 Lightning, 5-1 Lightning, something like that. And I'm like, okay, sure. It's before the game. And it's 2-0 Panthers in the first period. And he's just like, what? And when he didn't expect it, nobody expected it. We're going to be talking a lot about the fact the Lightning are down 0-2 in this series. They're only 1-goal games, but where's Stamkos been? He scored in each game, but he's not dominating. Kucherov certainly isn't. But when Bob made that save, I was between Serena and Mike, and I grabbed them. I'm like, it was so, a goalie guy. And Mike, the Czech guy, said to me, actually, I think he's from Slovakia, but he said to me, the goalies are showing off tonight. And I'm like, I have zero problem with that as a goalie guy. Man, that was just a display. Now to the other games, though. People didn't tune in to talk about that. Came home, turned on the TV in the second period, and Colorado was just manhandling the Winnipeg Jets. Manhandling them. They looked like they were completely in control of the game. Patrolman Pete wrote in and said their teeth gnashing, and it sounded like they were wrenching their underwear in Winnipeg or something. It's 1-1 going back to Denver. And in Vancouver, Thatcher Demko's out. Out week to week, Rick Tocchet, the head coach, said after the game. Not a game-by-game, week to week. He re-injured his left knee. It was Darren's idea, the poll question today. Who's in more trouble right now, the Winnipeg Jets or the Vancouver Canucks? And I would suggest I have Winnipeg to win this series. It's going to go 6, I said. That's what I think. And if that's the case, Colorado's got to win too. Winnipeg, I believe, is fine. Vancouver is not fine. I have more thoughts, but I will vote for Vancouver's in way more trouble than Winnipeg. You?
Yeah, I think Vancouver is in more trouble than Winnipeg as well for those same reasons. I said to somebody going into last night, I said they were worried about Casey DeSmith. I said, look, Vancouver's going to hold Nashville to under 25 shots, and if he can limit it to 2 goals, maybe 3, Vancouver will have a really good chance to win the game. Well, I didn't predict 3 goals on 15 shots, but it should have been enough for this talented offensive team in Vancouver to at least be in that game, and they really weren't. They have to find a way to generate more offense, and that's a problem. Nashville's really good defensively, and now you don't have Thatcher Demko, and your offense has kind of got MIA. That's a real problem. The reason I think Winnipeg's in trouble, not as much trouble as Vancouver, however, is they had beaten Colorado every step of the way until this point. Now you've lost your edge. Now Colorado's won, and you've kind of woken up. One of the recent Stanley Cup champions. That's scary. But Winnipeg, down, 1-1, they're still in good shape. Vancouver is in a lot more trouble. Offense, and now no Demko.
Yeah, well, I welcome everybody's commentary. This is what we do here on Canada's daytime sports talk show. You can write in on the Sober Carpenter text line 902-518-3033. I kind of chuckle. I open that phone before we go to air every day. People forget we do re-air on national television 2 hours later. So there's a lot of people texting in thinking we're live, and they don't. And I don't know. I might read those texts. I'm not sure. But I will say this about Vancouver and Winnipeg. Winnipeg, I believe, is the better team than Colorado. They finished 3 points up on them this year, so that means they're obviously very even. But just go out and prove that you're better. You still have a full deck. You're not dealing with what Vancouver's dealing with. And this is where we're going to find out how good of a coach Rick Tocchet really is. Because I go back to Tampa Bay at the start of the season. They didn't have Vasilevsky until really the end of November. Not only did they stay afloat, they held on to a playoff spot through all of that by devising a way. You said to score more. I didn't think of it that way. They found a way to cut down on shots against, scoring opportunities against. That's what the Canucks are going to have to do. What their offense is what their offense is. But can you devise a way on the fly? Because that's where the good coaches get separated from the bad coaches. And we all agree that Rick Tocchet's a great coach. But, Darren, it's a regular season award, not a playoff award. You know what I mean? So if your number one goalie goes down, you're going to have to find a way to adjust and play differently. And I don't think it's outscoring your problems in the playoffs. I don't. So John Cooper's never even been a finalist for Coach of the Year, let alone won it. And the guy is a flippin' genius. Somebody was saying the other day that Paul Maurice here is playing 4D chess against everybody. And he is highly intelligent, but to see him and John Cooper match wits, whoa. That's the matchup. I mean, forget about the goalies. The coaches are unbelievable here. But do I have you sold on Tocchet? They're gonna have to change the way that they play and have been playing all year. That's why the Canucks are way more stressed than Winnipeg is or should be.
Yeah, deal for me on that. They're going to have to change. But you look at that game last night, they did a decent enough job limiting some of those Nashville chances and the shots. I mean, if you came out and said, look, we don't have our starting goaltender, got to play a backup. So defensively, we're going to limit the Nashville Predators to 15 shots. Do you think we can handle that and win the hockey game? If we only give up 15 shots, that should have been a pretty good recipe to win the game. But 3 goals on the first 12 shots put them in a hole, and they were never able to recover from it. So they need to be a little tighter, absolutely, and not allow those goals early. And DeSmith has to wear some.
I'm laughing. It depends where those shots come, when they come. 15 shots total doesn't seem like a lot. But let's you say you get in a hole or a minute 14 into the game, you're playing from behind. John Cooper said it last night. He goes, this is a really hard league to play from behind in, especially in the playoffs. So I think Vancouver has to change the way that they play. There's no doubt. We got a lot to get to, including NFL, the Blue Jays, Vladdy's wearing the goat horns after a loss last night. But I do want to mention this. Point 3, ESPN2 was pretty stoked with its numbers from the Winnipeg Jets' 7-6 victory over the visiting Colorado Avalanche on Sunday. According to Greg Wyshynski, the senior NHL writer for ESPN, Game 1 of the Best of 7 at Canada Life Center was the most viewed first-round NHL playoff game in ESPN history, and the 3rd most viewed Game 1 of a first-round playoff series in the history of U.S. cable TV, averaging 1.1 million viewers south of the border and peaking at 1.4 million. That's why I'll never get it. I'll never get it. You know how Navy Don wrote in here and said he'd love to see a Winnipeg-Columbus matchup because the NHL office would hate it. I don't understand. I'm going to watch it all. I don't know, like, what makes you watch. You and I are sports people. We're hosting a sports show. So we're always going to watch the sports. I think it's like other shows. What makes you watch Grey's Anatomy? What makes you watch the Country Music Awards with Jelly Roll winning 3 awards? Do you know what I mean? We're always going to be watching the sports. So you and I don't count. I feel like if it's on and there's no competition, you're going to have big ratings. These are all factors, right? But Winnipeg, most viewed round 1, game 1 in cable television history. I'm not really that surprised. It was a great game. I mean, anybody that thinks that, we're not going to watch because it's Winnipeg, I don't understand that, you know?
Game was good. The audience watched, and the game was so good, the audience stayed and kept getting bigger and bigger. And I think that's great. And that's also, ESPN. You mentioned Pat McAfee on this show. You mentioned him, I believe, in your column. He's talking about it. They're at least getting some mentions on the ESPN TV morning show, Get Up. At least with game previews, not really much commentary, but they're at least supporting the product. When your network that has the rights supports the product with some of their, that goes a long way too. So I love what's being built there. And I think they feel a little bit of the investment because they're competing with TNT and doing a pretty good job of it at the same time. So it's fun.
Absolutely. Hey, we got to take a break. We're only a couple points into the quick 6. As I said, we've got football coming up next. Blue Jays talking about tonight's games, the status of Willie Nylander. And on the way, Bernie Nicholls, Tori Gurley, and Tim Peel, some of our best sports friends. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. more speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's your daily reminder to reward your love of movies and sign up for Landmark Extras for free today. Get more of what you love. Free movies and concession items, invites to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. There are 3 programs to choose from. Go to landmarkcinemas.com for details. If we can bring the Moose in, there was just a wind gust, and it blew down my Lightning jersey. I don't know if that's a sign from God. Does it look weird? Should I stand up and fix it, or is it okay where it is? Is it okay?
That's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Cool. You know, we used to do this when we were in Calgary. When it was the Flames and Oilers on a night, we'd have which jersey would be up on the banner, right? Well, the Panthers won, so they deserve the prime location today.
I didn't do it on purpose. Oh, it's becoming a thing between Panthers and Lightning fans with our show and who's ahead of who, you know, in our show here and Cats and Bolts. And I'm like, God, it's not that important. To the comments we go. And so far, I haven't really got into YouTube. Here's what they're saying on the Sober Carpenter text line. Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for it by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. Darcy is watching in Grand Prairie, Alberta. He writes in and he says, one thing comes to mind after tuning in this morning. Wonder Bread. And our radio listeners in Atlanta will have no idea what he's talking about because they can't see me, but does this look like a Wonder Bread package to me? That's the last thing. I feel like it looks like a rodeo clown shirt, but not a Wonder Bread bag.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get the Wonder Bread bag, but I mean, sure, everybody, you know what? It's what do you see? Everybody sees something different.
Right. Right. Dave number 3, sorry, in Winnipeg. There are 3 Daves from Winnipeg that all write in, and they've numbered themselves. I appreciate that. Dave number 3 says, my older brother went down to South Florida in 2002, 2003 for a high school hockey tournament. They went to a Panthers game. He said offside, icing, and penalties all had to be explained to the crowd during the game. I'm sure they don't do that anymore. I'm glad hockey has grown down there, Rod. Yeah, you and me, your lips to God's ears, man. How many times I've said it on this show and I've told you, people say, man, did you ever start a Panthers podcast at the right time? What can I say? Timing's been good to me in my life. And my dad, when the Stars first moved to Dallas, Dad used to go down from Saskatchewan and come back and just howl at the comments from the fans because he's like me. He used to like to go sit in the crowd, not in the press box, and just listen to what people have to say. Did I ever tell you this? He'd howl and he'd imitate them, right? After he was done talking about the fake boobs and blonde hair and all this stuff, he's like, we don't have that in Milestone. At least not then. They might now. But he's like, yeah, I think if you shoot it from the red line and it hits the glass behind the net, they call it offside. And if like 2 of you are inside the blue line and 2 are out, then they call it a 2-line pass. I think that's what it is. No, not even close. That was Dallas 30 years ago. And here, I mean, quite frankly, do you watch these games in Florida or Tampa for that matter and marvel at how much they know about the rules? They really do.
Yeah.
I should get over it, but I'm not over it. Yeah.
No, and I haven't been to a game in those markets in Florida, but I've been to games in LA, been down to Dallas, and all these markets are all over it now, right? They're real. I mean, obviously the NHL has been in those markets now a long time, but they're real hockey fans. They know the game very, very well, and they pack the building.
And they're starting to play the game too. Brian in Hudson's Bay regarding our poll question today, who's in more trouble, the Canucks or Jets? Brian says, good morning, guys. I think they are in the same amount of trouble. Winnipeg is lucky to have won the first game. In my opinion, decent goaltending from Colorado and the Jets will be done quickly. Again, his team's not in the playoffs, so take it for what you will. He's looking at it very unbiased, but that's not to say that he's right. I think I explained earlier, Winnipeg could be up. They were dominated last night, but it's going to be a long series. I don't believe game 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It's not, each game's its own separate entity. Now, having said that, Keenan in Athabasca, Alberta, writes in and says, he's watching on Game Plus TV, and he says, Vancouver can't win giving up 3 goals on 15 shots the rest of the series. No, they can't, but I would suggest there's a very real chance that that's what they're going to be dealing with. Like, oh my God, if the whole fortunes of the Vancouver Canucks rest on Thatcher Demko, how on earth did they finish first in the Pacific Division? Because he missed time then too. I say this is on Talkit more than anything, and we've covered that. Matter of fact, I'm ready to move on, but do you have any thoughts on the viewer questions before we do move on?
No, I know you want to pinpoint problems, but you're not going to win if you only score 1 goal, and you need to devise a system to protect your goaltender, limit those chances. And like you said before, 15 shots is not a lot. I mean, if you told me you're going to get 15 shots every night against, I'd be really happy. I think we're probably going to win every game. But you don't know where those shots are coming from, so you still need to limit the high danger chances. And Rick Tocchet's got to find a way to get this group going. It's kind of, I'm with you on his shoulders here. I don't think this is a Casey DeSmith problem.
It's all of their problem. They are in big trouble, just so you know. Vancouver's in way more trouble than the Winnipeg Jets. They're not the same. Winnipeg's got a full deck, as I said, and they finished ahead of Colorado in the regular season. Why am I repeating myself? Moving on. Reg in Winnipeg regarding the Bob behind his back save last night. He says, Reg Dunlop says, do you mean you never made a save like that as a teenager? No, and that's why I'm sitting here today. Alan in Saskatoon says, I love goalies showing off. That's when hockey is good. No kidding. The 7-6 game the other night was horrible. The Winnipeg, Colorado game. From a Jets perspective, no. But from a goaltending perspective, it was disgusting. Last night, Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky were going shot for shot, save for save, and it was amazing. Jen from the Four Seasons writes in and she says, good morning, y'all. Tampa's in trouble. I'm okay with that, though. LOL. And she says the Jets fell apart in that game. Can't do that against Colorado. I got to move on. I really do. NFL note. Listen, point 4. I'm just throwing this in for the sake of variety, and we are the Golden Corral of sports talk. A little something for everybody. The number 1 pick of the NFL draft already has traded hands, with Carolina sending it more than a year ago to Chicago in a trade to move up to take Bryce Young first overall last year. Based on recent history, plenty more first-round picks should change hands on Thursday night. I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a second. But teams either looking to move up a spot or two for a specific player or to make a bigger investment to trade up for a franchise quarterback. Over the past 5 drafts, there have been 28 trades during the first day of the draft that included first-round picks, with 5 of those deals involving picks in the top 10. Couple things. Last night, John Evanson from WPTV, West Palm Beach, CBS affiliate. I told you this morning. He came down and sat beside me, and he's like, Rod, I've been catching your show. So you talk a lot of hockey, like almost all hockey. And I'm like, yes, we talk about the ice hockey, especially this time of year. And he's like, hey, cool, I get it. It airs on national television in Canada. He, by the way, is Canadian. This morning when I was leaving Johnny O's gymnasium, I turned on the radio, WQAM, and for 3 solid hours, Joe Rose, you've heard me talk about Joe Rose, the color guy for the Dolphins. He played for the Dolphins. It was about the NFL draft the whole time. He brought on 8 analysts. Who do you think the Dolphins will take number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6? Okay, thank you. You, sir, who do you think the Dolphins will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I get it, but the Panthers won last night, for the love of God, and the Heat are playing tonight. You can't blame Joe. He's a football guy to the bone, right? You got more football here than you can shake a stick at. FIU, FAU, Miami Hurricanes, not to mention high school, the NFL. Hey, I get it, but dude, do you see what I'm like? If you were here, it is all draft all the time, and that's why I think our show's growing here. Both Cats and Bolts and this. It's just, dude, come on. How much can you talk about the draft? Seriously.
I know. And it's going to be as worse now. It's as bad as it's going to be because the draft is here. Oh. But, I admire him for at least just staying in his lane. At least he's staying in his lane. Yeah. You got to admire
3 years. 3 years I've been going to a Panthers game, and he's got a pass at the front desk, security desk. It has been sitting there for 3 years. He's never gone to one hockey game. But again, that's fine. He's a football guy. Just moving on to point 5, Bobby Witt Jr. delivered the go-ahead double in the 5th inning for Kansas City after a costly error by Jays first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and the Royals bullpen shut down Toronto the rest of the way in a 3-2 victory last night. Royals 3, Jays 2. Pitcher Kevin Gausman dropped to 0-3 for the Jays. He allowed 3 unearned runs on 7 hits and a walk over 6 2/3 innings for visiting Toronto. Teams continue their series tonight. And so to the NHL tonight, we can't, I know we usually push this to hour 2, but for the sake of it, it's the playoff because it's the Cup. Boston at Toronto tonight. The series is 1-1. Vegas at Dallas tonight. Golden Knights up 1-0. And LA Kings at Edmonton. Oilers leading 1-0. What's your Wee Willie Nylander report, Moose? What is it?
Well, it's actually the tuna update. He's all over this. I said, you're the news desk now today. And he was in our ear before the show, and I think you had your headphones off for a second. Mark Masters reporting that he was out on the ice, leaving with Noah Gregor for an extended period as part of a group that looks like he likely won't play tonight, if that's any indication. So I think we're all confused as to why he's getting so much work, so much ice time. But this is also a really tough series, and maybe they're protecting him. I don't know. We're all just speculating because William Nylander played every game all year, and all of a sudden he can't go. But in those warm-ups, the pregame skates, he looks okay. So it can't be that serious. We're not sure really what's going on.
Tuna says, writing in and saying the speculation now is that it's a head injury. Oh, my God. Producer Clark has checked in. Hey, Producer Clark. He says, morning squad checking in from the Big Smoke. T-minus 6.5 hours until I'm in the building for Game 3, Leafs and Bruins. Don't be afraid to put something on our Instagram story there, Clark, from Scotiabank Arena. I know you will. We got Bernie Nicholls next. He's in that Toronto area. He'll have some thoughts. I mean, this is why I'm just so happy doing a talk show, and I don't have the inside information to the teams because it's a lot to hold to yourself. Everybody wants to know. Corey Pedersen, probably watching right now from Tallahassee, Florida. The Sizzler, former Regina Pat, he texted me yesterday, what's wrong with Nylander? I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. That is the most closely guarded secret since the last presidential election vote count in the United States. You're never going to find it out. You know, I watched Nylander here last week, and he looked totally fine. And, everybody's going back to that Tampa game frame by frame by frame to see where he got hurt there. But you know what? They can win without him because they did it in Game 2. Moose, we'll see you in Hour 2.
You bet. See you then.
The great Bernie Nicholls is on the way next. Load him up. And if you got questions for Broadway Bernie, the Pumpernickel, fire him this way. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The race for the Cantera Seeds Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
As you know, everybody, when we talk hockey, it's brought to you by Common Crown Brewing out of Calgary, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. The great Bernie Nicholls played 1,127 NHL games, 1,209 points, and another 118 games in the playoffs. And Bernie, hey, Bernie, you're on, brother. How you doing, sir? Long time no see.
Good, Rod. How you doing? Good time of year.
I'm doing great. Yeah, hey, it's a great time of year. And listen, I'm going to jump right to it and ask you this, Bernie. What series have you enjoyed the most so far in round one? We're only 2 games in, 1 in some cases. But what have you enjoyed the most?
Well, to be honest with you, I've watched them all. I've watched part of every series going. Being an Oiler, loved watching them play. They were unbelievable the other night. The Florida game, like, those goalies last night, I felt bad, for either team that lost. That series is as good as it gets. Boston, Toronto. I think Boston, I'm not sure they were doing the right thing losing the last couple of games to get Toronto, because I don't think they could beat Toronto. But that series is good. Every series is unbelievable.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. And it's funny because I had a lot of people in Winnipeg go, I want to turn it to the Jets game, but this Florida-Tampa game is way too good. But I'll say this, you've been in so many playoff wars. Tampa's down 0-2. This series is a long ways from over.
Yeah, that's the team that it didn't surprise me because of the talent they have. Yeah, I think it's a long ways from over. And the injury last night, kid got from Florida is going to hurt them if he can't get back. I don't know if he broke his wrist or not, but I mean, that series, it's going to go a long ways. I'm pretty sure about that. 2 great teams.
Yeah, I've got Panthers in 6. Sam Bennett you're talking about, and I am sure, I don't know if the Panthers are going to say anything about it today. But I'll say this, man. You mentioned being a former Oiler. What I'm hearing a lot from the NHL folks in the press box and so forth is nobody can stop those 2, 97 and 29. That was the case. Hand out the Stanley Cup right now. They're fun to watch, but they haven't won a cup yet.
Well, you're right. But I tend to agree with what they said. Like, I was telling someone yesterday, watching the game, like McDavid is just, honestly, Rod, he's in a different level. I don't get it. Like, he just can't be stopped. And as long as they get good goaltending, I honestly don't think they can get beat just because of how good 97, 29, like, they're deep. They're deeper up front than you think. I know this is probably the easiest round they will have with the Kings, but, man, like, I would pay to go watch 97 play. Without a doubt.
Well, I'll tell you what. The other night, one of his 5 assists, it was that Gretzky-Ella dip where he stopped, turned, and fed it across the crease, right? When you played with Wayne, you must have seen that happen all the time. Teams that gave him so much space because they were afraid to be made to look silly.
That's right. And great players can make you look silly. And that was the thing with Wayne. The same with Connor, right? Like, expect the unexpected because he's going to get you the puck. Gretz was always going to get you the puck, and you learn that real fast. And the same with Hyman. Hyman knows. He just gets himself positioned, and he knows 97 is going to get on the puck. It's either going to go off his skate, it's going to go off his knee pad, his stick. He's going to get it. And that's a great thing about playing with great players like that. Expect the unexpected. Enjoy it. Fun to watch. Have fun with it. Sure.
You know what? I'm glad they came up this way because I was trying to find a way to work in your 70-goal season of 88, 89. When Austin Matthews was chasing it, I was thinking of you. Like, it's a very elite club, man. I'm sure you're hoping Austin, because I know you're a fan, that he would join that club.
Yeah, there's another guy that you can't help but cheer for, right? Like, just when you hear how hard he worked every day, his commitment to the game, he is as good as it gets to score goals. Like, he is so much fun to watch because he can score. He may go down as the best goal scorer ever. He's got more goals right now than Ovechkin did at this time. And longevity, I think he'll have that too. So Gretz may get his record broke twice by the time it's all said and done.
Wouldn't that be something? Would that not be something? Hey, well, what do you think about this Nylander thing? And do you think the Leafs can beat Boston in this series without him?
I do. Like, for some reason, and I don't know what it is with Boston. They seem to win a lot, but me, I don't know. And I don't know what happened with Willie, right? Like, he was skating the day before yesterday's game, and he doesn't play. And I heard someone talking there on your panel there about they watched the last game, and they don't know what happened. And that just goes to show, too, right? Like, I know Colorado had a kid get hurt last game, and I honestly don't know why Willie was playing last game. Like, it didn't mean anything. If you remember, the Oilers sat like 7 or 8 players, their key players, the last game, because it doesn't mean anything. So for him to get hurt in a game that doesn't mean anything, shame on the coach and the GM there. Like, that just doesn't make sense. So I don't know what is wrong with them. To me, he's their second best player. I don't think they can go far without him. They definitely need him. But they showed the other night they could beat Boston without him. So who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say this, and I'll end. Our time goes so fast when we get together. But last year, if you recall, you called the Florida upset of Boston in round 1. I was like, come on, it's the best season in NHL history the Bruins just had. Nope. So do you have any bold predictions this time around?
Well, I think Toronto will beat them. But like the other series, like I say, with both Florida teams, it can go either way. Another one, Colorado and Winnipeg. As much as I'd like to see, Canadian team win, when you watch the games, to me, you watch the games and you see who outplays who, and like the first game, Toronto outplayed Boston a lot, which happened, but it's not going to happen too often. And even though the first game with Colorado and Winnipeg, Colorado outplayed them, but Winnipeg got 7 goals and some were bad goals. So to me, I could see what happened last night happen, and I think Colorado will beat Winnipeg. I think, for Dallas, what a bad draw to get defending champs, right? They just got a couple guys back that's really going to help them. I think that trade at the end with Hurdle, San Jose, Hurdle's as good as it gets, and he may have been the key to any trade at the trade deadline. He's really going to help that team, and that team's going to be a tough out too. So, and Vancouver, like Vancouver outplayed Nashville last night, but lost. So to me, the best team they should probably beat them, but without that goaltender now, I think it's going to be really hard. So there's another upset maybe in the making, mainly because with the Demko getting hurt.
Hey, just lastly, you're doing great things with the Bernie Nicholls Foundation. Can you just tell folks what you're up to these days?
Well, we're working on another golf event here in Ontario in August, so still keeping that going. We're still trying to help people as much as we can. We're on a trip right now heading to Detroit. We have a hockey game there, Rangers and Red Wings alumni game, and then into Nashville to see my daughter and 2 grandkids.
Awesome stuff, man. Sounds like things are great. Bernie, thanks for fitting us in. Enjoy the hockey. Hope we can do it again soon.
Absolutely, Rod. Thanks for having me.
The great Bernie Nicholls joining us from Ontario. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover after this. Tori Gurley and Tim Peel coming up in hour 2. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
One of hip-hop's finest, Ice Cube.
You better check yourself or you wreck yourself, 'cause I'm back.
Straight into Canada tour. April 28th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I can't believe today was a good day.
Among the most influential rappers of all time, Ice Cube. On sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Yeah, buddy. We got a lot of time in this segment for you. John Ohm's got a lot to say today, as usual. He writes in and says, last night I was watching 2 hockey games, 1 basketball game, and 1 baseball game, all at the same time. Boom. How about that? I can't. I admire those that do. I've got scouting friends. Craig Smith comes to mind. That'll watch like 5 football games at a time. I can't. I think the people that play bingo and have 5, 6, 7, 8 cards going at one time, boom, 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 that's godlike to me. My brain doesn't work that way. One thing at a time, and we're good. At least we know. I'll do a sports update and then jump into the text line. Let me just refresh it. Sports update on this Wednesday. Canada's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder host the New Orleans Pelicans in the second game of their NBA Eastern Conference playoff tilt tonight. Gilgeous-Alexander from Hamilton scored 28 points in the Thunder's 94-92 Game 1 victory. Also tonight, Boston looks to take a 2-0 series lead on the Miami Heat. First-year Blue Jay Yariel Rodriguez starts on the mound today in Kansas City, looking for his first win of the season. The Cuban righty is impressed with 13 strikeouts in 2 appearances so far this year. Toronto looks to bounce back from a 3-2 loss to the Royals last night. It's funny, a guy wrote into rodpeterson.com, his name's Tom, just ripping the hell out of Vladdy for his error last night, and I was like, whoa, dude. So not in my vortex. Because let's just remember, it's the Rod Peterson Show, not Sports Center. So we're not obliged to watch Major League Baseball highlights, even if it's the Blue Jays. Sorry. But kind of gravitating a lot to basketball. You know we're going to be in hockey. We're going to be talking football next hour with Tori Gurley. Baseball? Did somebody say baseball? Yeah, having said that, Canada's Kadriana and Colton Lott scored a 10-4 win over China today, already to improve to 6-1 at the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship in Sweden. The husband and wife team from Gimli, Manitoba, sit in second place in Group B behind the host Swedes, who beat Australia 7-6 this morning to go to 7-0. Sports update is for Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in Landmark Cinemas May 3rd, The Fall Guy. From real-life stuntman and director David Leitch, the blockbuster director of Bullet Train, Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde, and Fast and Furious, comes his most personal film yet, a new hilarious, hard-driving, all-star thriller and love letter. And to action movies and the hard-working and underappreciated crew of people who make them. The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Friend of mine, Kurt Price and Lloyd Minster, put a photo up on Facebook of the original Fall Guy. Go look it up. One of my favorite shows of all time. Heather Thomas, Lee Majors. He was cool. I don't even know that I'm going to go to Fall Guy because to me there's only one Fall Guy. Lee Majors. And Heather Thomas was her name. We have figured out her whereabouts, and apparently she's doing just fine. An 80s bombshell. Hour 2 is on the way next. Stick around through this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio, everybody. I know you won't be disappointed.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The race for the Cantera Seeds Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We're brawling this team, and the guy yells over the glass, "Go back to the NHL, Preston, you loser." Can't even say it with a straight face.
It was a good beak. When we'd roll into a bigger center, they'd say, "Go back to Wynyard. Go back to the NFL where I was making more money and doing it." I'd like to. Thank you very much.
Where I was flying on the charter with the double wide leather seats and the filet mignon.
Yeah, working on it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, welcome everybody. Okay, hey. It's going fast. It really is. I'm talking about today's show. I'm talking about life. Tuna's our producer today because Clark is in Toronto. Should have probably lined up an interview with producer Clark. The third Sedin. That's what he looks like. The long-lost triplet of the Sedins. Clark is in Toronto for Game 3 of that Stanley Cup first-round series. I thought we were going to have Moose here in hour one. We probably, at any time, and here he is. Yes, he is. Okay. He is in the chicken capital. Was your mom pounding chicken down your throat, Moose, that you didn't have time to get ready? What's going on there?
Yeah, pretty much that's it. Sometimes, the internet doesn't reach all of rural Saskatchewan, so it takes a little longer to connect than normal. But no, it's all good.
Well, you're not on a farm, though. You're towny, right?
We're in town, but they're all excited because they're getting faster internet in 2 weeks. So everybody in town's talking about it because they're all on the same internet plan.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something before we jump back into the thing, and I'll get to as many comments as I can here. 902-518-3033 is the Sober Carpenter text line, streaming as well. I'm trying to keep my mind eye on the prize. It's not easy. We do have an update. And again, later on today, Serena and I are recording the Lightning and Panthers podcast, Cats and Bolts. It's really catching on here. I'm very proud of that and happy about that for obvious reasons. People are asking me for an update on Sam Bennett. Bernie Nicholls brought it up yesterday, or last hour, sorry, that it's going to be a big blow to the Panthers if Sam Bennett is out for any significant amount of time. Paul Maurice saying moments ago that looks like a week-long injury for Sam Bennett. I believe the Panthers can survive his loss. Now, I did just put on Twitter, on our Cats and Bolts podcast account, that if you think this series is over with Florida up 2-0, you don't know anything about playoff hockey. Leafs Bruins tonight, I'm going to get to that in a second. But it reminds me, I'm sorry, we love our junior hockey. Anybody who is, as far as I'm concerned, worth their salt in this business came up through junior hockey because it gave you a solid foundation of roots in the game. We still follow it. And last year, the Regina Pats with Connor Bedard went up 2-0 on the Saskatoon Blades. And I don't need to tell you because I know Regina sports fans like the back of my hand. They were doing a victory lap. Like it ain't over. It's not over. And they went on to lose in 7. If anybody thinks, anybody that's up 2-0, and there aren't a lot of those series, but listen, dude, you follow the Lightning. They're not done. They're the OG. They're not going away without a fight.
No, they're not going away at all. You know, Tampa's a team. They play tough. They play good defensively. It's just like Winnipeg, Colorado. Two good teams. And when you're that good and you're that well coached, it doesn't always, the game is kind of brand new. So that'll be interesting to see what the rest of this series looks like.
Your connection isn't as good as last hour. So I don't know if you need to change something or what, or the deal. I mean, we'll get by. You're only with us for one more segment. I'm just going to say whatever you did, if you can go back to what you're doing, would be good. Hey, I brought up the junior thing, so I'll just say this. Jennifer at the Four Seasons Sports Palace writes in, and she says, the Saskatoon Moose Jaw series is going to be great. Hey, not just great. Read my commentary from yesterday. No, it's Tony the Tiger from Frosted Flakes. Great! And it doesn't start till Friday. It's too bad that there was such a big block of space between those series, but that's what happens when series end early. Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, Game 1 Friday night, and Game 3 of the SJ Sask Junior Final goes tonight. Flin Flon at Melfort. Okay, Mustangs up 2-0. Leafs Bruins tonight. Am I correct in saying we got conflicting reports on William Nylander's status? I thought I heard Chris Johnston saying it would be a shock if he didn't play, but now we're hearing it would be a shock if he did? Is that the deal? Where are we?
Essentially, unless Tuna's got more information following Mark Masters and the other reporters, sounds like based on what he did at the morning skate, looks unlikely that he'll play. But coming into the day, you're right. Chris Johnson said he'd be shocked if he didn't play. So I don't know what the story is with William Nylander, talking about potentially a head injury now. That makes some sense. But all we're doing is speculating.
Well, it's certainly something to watch leading up to Game 3 tonight. And there are 4 more Stanley Cup playoff games. Trust me, everybody, if you're just tuning in, we went through them all last night's games last hour. I would think through 1,229 shows, people know what we do. Last night's sports in hour 1, tonight's sports in hour 2. I apologize to Bill in Brantford, Ontario. He has texted in with a question, and he says, could you ask Bernie Nicholls how he came to play for the Woodstock Navy Jets? I just saw it, Bill. I apologize, but I will ask Bernie the next time he's on. And Darren, it's coming up on a year ago, I would think, that you were at the Bernie Nicholls golf tournament, and Matthew Barnaby was there last year, presented by Bet99. Was that one of the greatest days of your life? Because it sure looked great. I was really envious that day.
It was pretty awesome. I love going to those events. I like the golf part, but as much as the golf part, it's fun socializing, seeing everybody, meeting new people. Ken Reed was there. Rod Black was there. a lot of people who know me from the show, and pass along, hello and how are you to you. Yeah, haven't got any word on this year's tournament, but hopefully this summer we'll have the invite back because that was a fun one.
Ladies and germs, Tori Gurley coming up. Next segment, Tim Peel, the segment after that. Trevor in Red Deer writes in and says, without Thatcher Demko, the Canucks will be done in 6. Bro, it might even be 5. Now, so I want to point something out here, and it has to do with the Vegas-Dallas game. Did I say there was 4 games tonight? There's only 3. Bruins-Leafs, the series is 1-1. Vegas at Dallas, the Golden Knights are up 1-0. And the Kings at the Oilers up 1-0 in games. Now, again, it's the Rod Pedersen Show. We sprinkle in our own little flavor. That's what makes it different from every other sports talk show. Stick with me, Darren. You only got me for 8 more minutes, and then you don't got to worry about sticking with me. Trying to stay on my crazy train here. I'm thinking about that Vegas-Dallas thing where I said it's the whining about what Vegas has pulled off with the long-term injury loophole, the hijinks, is unbecoming of those that are doing the whining. A lot of people didn't like that comment by me, and trust me, I don't care. I think about, I'm tying this all together. You love golf. You did this show, your portion of this show from Bernie Nicholls golf tournament last year. And while I was just envious to be around the hockey guys, I would have not wanted to golf. They always ask me to golf at these things. I'm like, I don't like it. I'm not good at it. I'm okay to ride around in a cart, sit on the porch. I'll see you at supper, okay? Just go hit them straight. This is all that I want to do, the media thing. And if I have to do something else, it's coaching people in mental health and recovery, which, I'm dealing with a lot of young people right now. And the thing is, I used to feel kind of hypocritical handing out advice, but the thing is they come to me because they know that I've been in their shoes, so they want to know how to get out of it. Do you know what I mean? I'm sitting here going, don't do what I did. And the reason for that is I think about Vegas and Kelly McCrimmon, the people that incessantly whine. I'm seeing NHL media people that think of this for a second. I learned it here. It first came on my radar. There are people that cover only the NFL that know nothing about college football and even less about, obviously, high school football. There's people that cover the NHL that know anything about junior hockey. I find that a little insulting, but it's the way that it is. People don't really know Kelly McCrimmon's history before he got to the National Hockey League. I saw them putting it on Twitter saying, why is he such a sought-after GM? He had his pick between the Oilers and Golden Knights jobs and could have gone to the Kraken. Because he's the Glenn Sather of junior hockey. That's why he stays up at night thinking of how to win. You now are seeing, Darren, where I'm going with this. I whined, I pissed and moaned for 20 years or more about Kelly McCrimmon and his tactics because we couldn't beat him, and he would beat us all the time. And I would sit there and go up into the commissioner right in his face. Why are you letting him do this? And he'd just stare at me. Huh? Same thing now. So my point, I'm embarrassed because I used to whine and blog about it, and I would whine to everybody about what Kelly was doing. Nobody cared. He kept getting away with it and kept winning. So all I'm saying is, because I've been there, shut up about it, because it's not going to stop. And do you see them changing the LTIR rules? Like drastically after this? I don't know how you could.
I think it will change. It won't be for a couple of years, it sounds like, when the CBA is renegotiated. I don't know how drastic it's going to be. Everybody wants to suggest what it should be. Oh, if I saw the latest one I saw is if you trade for a player to replace a player, you should have to choose which one gets to play in the playoffs. Well, that's not fair either. And the LTIR is teams that struggle with injuries, real injuries during the season. It's complicated, but I think it will see some tweaks.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I just wonder, I don't follow the NHL as closely as some. I follow it more closely than most. But do we not remember a few years ago when Tampa Bay pulled this with Kucherov? They did the exact same thing. And the NHL GMs talked about it in the summer and decided they weren't going to change. It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, if you're willing to sit a guy down the stretch, I mean, if you're into spirituality and numerology and all that stuff that we are in, they say there are no coincidences. Come on. Come on. Come on. Mark Stone magically, no. No, it's not a coincidence. They did this on purpose. And the NHL's okay with it, clearly. And all the other teams are very likely bitching and moaning about it. Been there. That's all I'm saying. Shut up about it because it's not going to change. From Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, our guy Randy writes in and says, love your shirt today, Rod. Hey, at least somebody does. But thank you. I do too. It's from this Florida clothing brand called Whole Life. My guy, Mark Gundry, he does take custom orders. We had one done in Winnipeg Blue Bombers colors, and it's going out to the sports doctor, by the way, and a few other colors. But, yeah, thank you, Mark Gundry. It's been very popular shirts. People were talking about Wonder Bread. I said it looks like a rodeo clown. Whatever, man. It pops. On the Junior A front, Patrolman Pete says, Winkler Flyers up 3-0 over the defending champions Steinbach Pistons in the MJHL Finals. I had a great time at Game 1 on Friday. Thank you, Patrolman Pete. And I got to thank Steve Smith, friend of mine in Steinbach, who put a photo up from last night's game he was at? I love it when people go to the games and post photos, especially of not NHL. The other lower level, man. You're promoting the league, and I kind of wonder if the leagues even understand that. I really wonder if they know that. Hey?
I know. It is great. And in my timeline, just like yours, it's full of hockey. NHL, but also a lot of junior hockey in the playoffs and everything else. I think it's just awesome seeing all the photos and all the videos and all the rest.
Hey, I love this. Jen from the Four Seasons says, it's not going to change until Bettman's gone. I will say this, man. I like Bettman. I've said it a million times, and I mean that. If I didn't, I would tell you. I would say Serena does not like him at all. And when he's gone, we're going to see a different NHL. But let's remember, because he's only got 1-2 years left at the most. Kind of leaving on top as far as I'm concerned, coming off a career revenue year, career ratings year. You know, things will change, but do you want them to change? How much will they change? They're going to change, but how? John Ohm, you know him. Rod, have you ever considered organizing a putting contest at these golf tournaments? That way, you could interact and get your message out about recovery, etc. No, I haven't. Not till now. Maybe we should do that. Never thought, how would it happen? I'm not a golf guy. But in this case, I might be. I'd consider it. Might be a little late to start planning for this summer. I don't know. I'm not a golf guy. We have business and promotions people for that. Patrolman Pete says, I love junior hockey because it's not about love of the game. Not a lot of scenesters there because it's the cool thing to do. It's about hockey. Exactly. And you know what? Our next guy is all about football. Tori Gurley joins us next. Moose, enjoy your time. Say hey to your folks for me.
You bet. Why don't I'll text you my breakaway bets picks for overtime.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Our football insider, Tori Gurley, joins us next. Former Packer, Brown, and CFLer. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The race for the Cantera Seed Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Hey, we're about to talk NFL draft, some college football. We do have news from the CFL. Andrew Harris, the Blue Bombers have announced today, will sign one more Canadian Football League contract to officially retire as a member of his hometown Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Bombers announced that today. Tori Gurley was there. I'm not sure. Tori joins us now, NFL, CFL alum. Hey, Tor. Good to see you, my dude. You're a Bomber. Was that the best month of your life, your time in Winnipeg? How long were you in Winnipeg?
Yeah, it was about a month. And, Winnipeg and, great people, great city, but I rather, if it was my choice, it would be Toronto, or I'd rather be in Saskatchewan, one of those two places.
Hey, he didn't. There you go, folks. Everything happens for a reason. Tori, NFL draft begins Thursday night with round one. Can you first, before we get into any analysis and so forth, talk about your role, your guys, and why you're so into the 2024 NFL draft?
Yeah, this entire football season, we were on the road and went out and scouted and met with coaches, met with parents, did our due diligence to give over to NFL teams so we can cross-reference and be able to evaluate these players. So Thursday is the draft. We're super excited. I get to see my group of receivers go through it, and we've been very successful over the past few years. We've had guys to be first-round picks or to have early success in the NFL. I went out and scouted Christian Watson. He's with the Packers. Romeo Doubs, who's with the Packers. Reed with the Packers. I had like three guys from one of my group when I was with the Senior Bowl to get drafted to the Green Bay Packers, and I got to play for them. So It's just a beautiful thing, and I'm excited to see what happens this year with this year's receiving class. See how it turns out for them.
Is there too much emphasis on the quarterbacks in this draft in particular, or do you see why there is?
I think it's a lot of hype. Obviously, Caleb Williams is going to end up going one. But after that, we've heard Jaden becoming, the quarterback of the Commanders. I guess he's supposed to be slotted there. And, people want to see what happens with Drake May, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix. And those were all guys that I've been out on the road and watched play. And with me, I feel like it's going to be the right fit and system where those guys land. Like where you land matters. If you go to a place, we can use the Carolina Panthers. Didn't have any offensive weapons last year. Drafted Bryce Young with the first pick and struggled. Won one game this year. You look at C.J. Stroud. They had a couple pieces already in place. You insert C.J. into the starting lineup, and the Houston Texans made the playoff. Last year they picked second in the draft. That's how bad they were. That they had the second pick. They had the second and third pick. So where you land matters, and I'm hoping that these guys get the opportunity to go to places where they can develop and have a long career, because if not, we've all seen it. A guy gets drafted high, and a couple years later, they're out of the league. So, I'm wishing the best for all those upcoming players.
Well, who knows? Great analysis, by the way, because I'm the same. If C.J. Stroud had gone to Carolina, they probably would have ruined him too. But life's about timing and all those things. Hey, if you're a young quarterback right now, where would you want to go first out of those top five? Like, let's say Chicago, Washington, New England. What's the best spot for a rookie NFL quarterback, do you think, in 2024?
Well, I'll tell you this: if it was my son TJ and he was in this year's draft class, we're staying the hell away from New England. Like, you're not going in after Tom Brady, and the standard the bar is so high there. Like, those fans are somewhat delusional. Like, having a winning season is nothing to New England. Like, those, that fan base is thinking Super Bowl. So, a place like Chicago isn't bad because they went out and, they got DJ Moore. They're going to use their draft picks to get additional weapons on offense. So I think Caleb Williams would be a good fit there because, you have the pieces around them. But and as I mentioned earlier, is where you land, because if you go to Carolina, I think this year, if I'm working with the Carolina Panthers, I'm exhausting all of my draft picks on offensive weapons for Bryce Young. I gotta surround him with talent, because if not, we just wasted a first round pick last year on a quarterback that we can't help. So, but I would lean Chicago first, and then I would say the Washington Commanders second, just because they have weapons and they got good players, so it matters.
The best non-quarterback in this draft is who, in your mind?
Whew, that's a great question. I'm biased, so I'm going to say Marvin Harrison Jr. He's elite wide receiver. He should be the first guy taken off the board. The scout side of me, we should talk about offensive linemen, but the receiver, we're God's gift to earth. So I'm really pulling for Marvin. Another guy that I'm pulling for is Keon Coleman. Has a basketball background, played at Florida State. The kid is kind of shooting up the draft board, and I'm hoping he has a successful career. But I think Marvin Harrison, from what he's put on film, the football pedigree with his father being Marvin Harrison that played with Peyton Manning, both of those guys are Hall of Famers. I just think his ceiling is this kid has a shot to be special.
Well, the interesting thing is you're all about the NFL, you're all about college football, but I would think you're keeping an eye on the CFL too. Their draft is right after the NFL drafts, April 30th, where you got linemen as the top prospect. Like, the difference in the two drafts is wild, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm excited for those guys. I love how they do the combine up in the CFL, where it's competitive. You got guys doing one-on-ones with pads on. I just think I hope they're able to adopt that that with the NFL some type of way, because just running in shorts and t-shirt, it's hard to evaluate a player. You know, you're gonna have guys that test well because they're in shorts and t-shirt, but you put them in a football setting and they can't play. So I will always lean on how the CFL does it with having their draft and just their evaluation process. And what usually happens is when these young guys in the NFL get drafted, that means someone has to get cut. So it's going to be veteran guys or fringe players, and this is where the CFL comes into place, and these other leagues where you're going to get a lot of quality talent. And I remember, that happened to me, and that's what jump-started my career up in Toronto, was that, I was on the roster with the Buffalo Bills. They drafted Sammy Watkins, and, once Sammy came in the door, I was the one that had to leave, but it was the best thing that ever happened in life. I came up to Toronto and ended up meeting my wife and ended up meeting you, and now I'm on your show talking about the process. So, fellas, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Enjoy it while you can.
And guys like you and me will never listen when we're kids. You find that now with the young guys, Tori? The best ones don't listen. You noticed?
Oh, no. Stubborn, super stubborn. Just remind, when I used to love it. Well, I hate it when guys would say, you remind me a lot of myself when I was your age. I'm like, what are you talking about? And as I get older and, I understand what those guys mean, where it's like, hey, thought I knew it all. And now, maturity, life steps into place. And number one, you got to have an amazing wife. It starts with that at home. So, having a wife and my son has been something where it's changed me as a person for the better. And, I owe a lot to those two special people that I love dearly, Kim and TJ.
Oh, you got some great ones there too, as do I. But you're not even 35 yet. Am I right? You're not even 35 yet.
No, I am. I'm 36. I'll be 37 in November.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you talked to your father-in-law about some of these old CFL guys. Well, Wally, but I don't know. Were you around for Don Matthews? The older I get now, and I don't mind saying I'm 51, I'm starting to get those guys. I get it now. I get why you were so crusty and arrogant. I get it. You don't have time for idiots anymore. I'm there now. So, Tori, that's what you can look forward to when you get into your 50s. I
don't want to be the guy. Don't step on my grass. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that mad of an old man. Like I'd rather be the guy that's on a golf course. But I don't want to be the guy that stay off my lawn. I hope that's.
Hey, you won't be, and I will say, we won't be. I'll be honest. We won't be the Belichicks that are 72 and don't know what to do with their life. It's like, Bill, take your money and go do something fun. He doesn't know. He wouldn't even know. There's a lot of those guys, Tori. We won't be like that.
Oh, no. The golf course is calling me. Hey,
yeah,
Ron,
okay.
You got to get in the golf.
For me, the beach.
Look, we can play on the beach. There's a lot of golf courses in Florida and South Carolina. We will have fun, and then we go hang out at the beach after.
I'll meet you in the middle. Let's play pickleball together. You know what? You and I, with the long wingspan, are made for it. Doubles pickleball. Yeah, exactly. Here we come. Listen, you're the busiest guy. I'll let you go. Enjoy the draft. Good luck with your guys. My best to your family, and can't wait till we chat next time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, and RPShow is the best in the world, baby.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much because of guys like you. Tori Gurley joining us from South Carolina as we preview NFL draft and talk about a lot of a variety of things. Speaking of pickleball, how about this? Get a sound effect ready, Tuna. From a guy named Sean, writes in on the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. He says, I fell asleep watching pickleball last night, woke up, turned on the tube, and found this show. Hi, all.
Good.
He says, for the sake of Canada's sanity, let's go Bruins. His name's Sean Bencharski, and his nickname is Bench. And he just found the show thanks to pickleball. How about that? And he goes on to say, with regards to Vegas and their salary cap circumvention, whatever you want to say, Bench writes in, now he's a real chatty Cathy. He just found the show and he wants to write us all day. He says, hey, Rod, about the cap circumvention, the GMs can't just change it. They need to wait for the CBA for it to change. We have to wait one more year, so it can't change till then. Hey, listen, I get it. The question was, how much will it change and how will it change? And it goes, listen, you're getting into the game late, Bench. What I've been saying is the whining about it is unbecoming for the reasons that you've just said. So they found a way around it. Stop whining about it. That's all. Or keep whining, but don't expect it to get anywhere. Oh, and Bob in Saskatoon writes in, and I'll throw this out. Bob says, thanks to SaskTel, television carrier, going up to Flin Flon and broadcasting Melfort Flin Flon's game in its entirety. Well, tonight, Game 3 for the Northern Lights Palace in Melfort. It'll be on SaskTel Max. I think Channel 427. Anyways, as we continue, go back to the hockey talk. Tim Peel joins us next. Yeah, we can't get enough of this guy's opinions. Does a great job. Former NHL referee, podcaster now. He's joined the dark side. And we'll talk more Stanley Cup playoffs with Tim Peel right after this on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
One of hip-hop's finest, Ice Cube.
You better check yourself or you wreck yourself, 'cause I'm bad.
Straight into Canada tour. April 28th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I can't believe today was a good day.
Among the most influential rappers of all time, Ice Cube. On sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, Tuna, did you say we got Tim Peel? Did you say we got him? All right, let's do it. All right. NHL refereeing great Tim Peel joined us to talk Stanley Cup playoffs. Peeler, listen, the number one thing, we just had you on last week, and it was awesome. I didn't know that you and Jeremy Roenick are doing a podcast together. And to be honest, man, it sounds amazing. Can we start right there? Tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's called Snipes and Stripes. Obviously, JR sniped a lot of goals, and I wore the stripes. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We started it in the fall. He's been traveling the last month in Europe, so I'm kind of running it by myself. That's why ratings have gone down. But he's awesome. You know, JR, he's very colorful. It's got lots of good stories. And you know what? I watch old videos, YouTube videos with my son Rod of JR and that era of hockey. And you remember when Darian Hatcher broke his jaw, and it was in the playoffs, and 2 games before that, or the game before it, 2 nights before that, he knocked Mike Modano out. So he knew there was retribution coming. And as he was going behind the net, people remember him getting his jaw broken, but Zubov slashed him so hard he broke his thumb. And then 1001, 1002, here comes Hatcher and breaks his jaw. So those guys were unbelievable back then. That was a great era, that late 90s, early 2000s.
Jeff Odgers will tell you it was the best because the money was getting good. It was pre-cell phone era. You know what I mean? Like it was the best time. And, you know, the last time you were on, we were just getting into some good ref stories, and we won't do that today, but I just knew, Peeler, I appreciate you. But I think more than anything, you could answer this question better than anybody. How would you grade the officiating through just the first few nights of the Stanley Cup playoff?
I think it sounds like I'm waving the flag, but honestly, I haven't watched any games that I'm like, holy geez, you know, these guys are determining the outcome of the game. Yeah, there's going to be one call here, one call there. You know, somebody embellishes, and that's the tough thing for an official is when a player embellishes. Man, if you give them an embellishment penalty, you're basically saying you're a cheater. And it's these guys are so good at embellishing and making things look like the stick caught him. Or, you know, I saw Marchand the other night. He took that little whack in the leg and he went down. It's, you know what? It's all about sight lines. And I think our guys have done a good job so far. There hasn't been anything that I don't think has determined the outcome of the game.
I agree, and thank God. It's not like the NBA, which they've started pretty much the same time, and the head office has already sent out an apology saying, you're right, we blew it. That has not happened in the NHL yet, and let's hope it stays that way. But I will say this, I don't know how much of the games you've watched. I'm assuming probably most, if not all. Yeah. There are Lightning fans that are saying they're getting the short end, and they are down 0-2. How do you feel about how that series has played out? Panthers up 2-0.
I completely disagree. I couldn't wait to watch that game tonight. Last night. I'm a little torn because, you know, I've known Matthew Tkachuk since he was 4 years old, but I'm also, John Cooper and I are good friends from back in the day when he used to ref in the North American Hockey League for the St. Louis Bandits for Kelly Chase and Brett Hull when they owned the team. And I want to see the series go long. I don't want to. So I was rooting for Tampa last night, and you know, we all saw that save Bobrovsky made. It was unbelievable. But that goaltending performance by both of them, Rod, was just phenomenal. But to your question, there was a play late in the third period and Nikola, the Florida defenseman, pinched in. He was carrying the puck in around the net. He got tripped up. He got tripped up. But they had just called one against Tampa, and the crowd went crazy, and they were chanting, and Nikola fell down, and Florida regained the puck, and they let that go because, really, he was behind the net. It's no slight against Nikola, but was he going to pull a Michigan from behind the net? Probably not. So they let that go. I think it's been called very, very evenly for both teams, and I just hope for the fans' benefit and for our benefit that this is a long series, because Tampa's got a good team. Tampa, I was texting with John Cooper the other day, and I said good luck and so on, and they can beat this team, but not the way if Bobrovsky plays like he did last night.
Oh, out of his mind. And Vazzy wasn't bad either. I was a goalie. Right. I appreciate a goalie battle. Some, for whatever reason, didn't like it, but it's a hell of a lot better than 7-6 Winnipeg, Colorado. That's just bad, or even what went on in Vancouver last night. But hey, Tim, I never seen behind the curtain. Like, what do you think about these calls? There's some very tight calls that have been made. Is there an edict that goes out at the start of the playoffs? Guys, call everything, no matter what. Or like, how do they do that?
Basically, Mr. Bettman gets on either the day in the morning before the first game of the playoffs that day, or the night before. We have a conference call with Gary Bettman, Stephen Walkom, Colin Campbell, and Bill Daly. And Gary's message is very clear. We want you to call the standard that you have been calling all year: the hooks on the hands, the trips, the slashes, anything that we didn't bring in new rules, but in 2004 we said, okay, Stephen Walkom's like, we got to open up this game. Let's call the rule book, and that's when we started calling hooks in the hands and slashing and so on. So I said, I was on with another show a while ago, and they said, the referees throw away the whistle in the playoffs. That's not true, especially in the first round. Guys are based, so we have 20 referees, Rod. 12 of them will go to the second round. So 8 guys get cut after the first round, and you don't want to be one of those 8, because you're getting a bonus for each round that you work, and plus a pride factor. You also want to work. So guys are based on, the guy's performance is based on Stephen Walkom is watching every game as Colin Campbell is. And they will rate the referees. This guy's calling the standard. This guy's letting too much go. And, the old adage of let the players decide the game. Well, when we decide that we're not going to call penalties, then we're kind of deciding the game.
I really, really appreciate that explanation, because I didn't know, and I don't think the fans know. And I got to, I did spend 20 years in the Western Hockey League, but also 20 years in the CFL, and the refs there hated video replay. And now it's worse now than when I was in that league, i.e. 37 angles, high definition. There's no reason to blow a call, whether you're making it with the naked eye, which would be very tough, or the guys in the replay booth. I can't imagine officials like replay too much, Peeler.
Well, no, I disagree. They do like it. For example, on goalie interference, they like it. They also like it on headshots. In real time, when you're on the ice, it is really tough to see. For example, Panarin last night with Oshie, did he get him in the shoulder first and then did it right up into his head? Because at real time, bang bang, if the fans and the media, the announcers and so on had to make a decision, it would be very difficult. But it's easy for us to sit at home and watch the replay 4 or 5 times and say, how did he miss that call? Going back to your question about calling the what do we call in the playoffs? One thing is very important, and I want your listeners to understand, is if and I've been bumped out of the first round before because maybe I called a couple penalties that I thought were penalties. I didn't have a good sight line, but I made a bad call. You don't want to make a 1-minute penalty call in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The league would rather you miss a trip, a high stick, a slash. Obviously they don't want you to miss them. But if you call a weak penalty that is not at the NHL standard. You know what, that might be a penalty in high school hockey, but that's not a penalty in the NHL. And they score on the power play. As a referee, you get a pit in your stomach when that happens, because you're like, I can't make those calls. And that's why there's certain guys that work the playoffs and there's certain guys that don't. Just like a hockey team, not every referee on our staff is a first line player. We have second line players, third line players, fourth line players. And, the Wes McCauley's and Kelly Sutherland's and Dan O'Rourke's and Chris Rooney's, those are our first line players. And the other guys, it goes down. It's the way that it's always been. Going back to your era, Frazier, Koharski, McCreary, then you had a gap and you had guys that weren't as good as those guys. It's always been like that, and it always will be.
Absolutely. And I think when I say they didn't like the video replay, by the way, it was just that a lot of their mistakes were pointed out that didn't used to be. Yeah. Even back then, the video might have been a little grainy, or they didn't have as good angles as now. You know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. It's tough. A high stick, but the shots coming as fast as they are. Was the stick over the crossbar or not? How would you know, right?
No.
So now...
No, you're absolutely right. When it first came in, you're like, geez, I got that wrong. And is the league going to think less of me because I got that wrong? And now it's just become, as you know, in every sport, video replay is so important because people are at home. They've got social media. I remember I was talking to the Bally sports guy here, Timmy Paps, a year ago. He's the producer for Bally's. And I said, 10 years ago, Timmy, how many TV cameras would you have at a game? He goes 5 or 6. I go, how many do you have now? He goes 12 to 15. So there's twice as many angles or 3 times as many angles covered now with cameras than there were even 10 years ago.
Yes, and what's amazing is how often the refs are right on their original call. You've noticed, right?
Absolutely.
Far more they get it right.
And the linesmen too, Rod. It's amazing to me, these linesmen, you've got 4 or 5 guys going across the blue line, bodies all over the place, and they will, all of a sudden, they'll rewind it and they'll go, now they missed some. But I know the percentage was in the high 90s this year of calls that were overturned for offside goals. These guys, these linesmen are unbelievable how accurate and good they are.
Yeah, and overall, it's like 97%. And I'm like, I'd like to be 97% at anything in life, and yet the fans want to focus on the 3%, right? Yeah. All right, Tim, this has been awesome. Appreciate it. Enjoy the hockey. Can't wait to do it again.
Okay, buddy, anytime. Thanks for having me.
NHL refereeing great Tim Peel. We'll be right back with a sports update. In overtime in our final viewer takeover, we are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The race for the Cantera Seats Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV. The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Esteban and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I was just perusing the comments here in the break. It's Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Yeah, I haven't looked at these for a while here. Hey, Randy and Michelle at Overtime Hockey Lanes, what do you have to say about the Stanley Cup playoffs? What's been your favorite series so far? For me, it's Florida-Tampa. In a little over an hour's time, we'll be taping the Cats and Bolts podcast with Serena and I, and that's going to be a lot of fun. What a series that's been. Just checking it all here from Ryan in Saratoga, New York. Says, Tori Gurley, not a get-off-my-lawn guy. Get off my lawn. No, we won't be those old bitter guys. Nope. Unless I'm already one and I don't know. John Doe in Calgary writes, and he says, if anyone in Calgary sees a light yellow 68 Mustang with a soft top, it's John Hufnagel. Well, he's retired. Is he even still around? Regarding the direction, if you ever want to know who's really running the league, Tim Peel just said, I hope you're listening when these guys talk. Tim Peel said, morning of the Stanley Cup playoffs, Gary Bettman says, call the rule book. It's Gary. Jen at the Four Seasons continues on that and says, Bettman says, call everything on all Canadian teams. LOL. She's joking, I think. I apologize. Some of these questions I didn't get in. I didn't see till now. Keenan is in Athabasca, Alberta. He says, question for Peelsy. How many goals or what do you think PLD's stat line will be tonight versus the Oilers? He wouldn't have answered that anyways. But Keenan goes on to say, they do a great podcast. I've been happy to hop on a couple times. How about that?
How about that?
Sean in Edmonton, who just found us this morning after leaving his television on from watching pickleball last night. He writes in and says, I've always wondered, he goes, I agree about the LTIR. He goes, I agree, nothing can be done, so whining and yelling at clouds is pointless. That's what I've been saying for a couple of weeks. Eventually, people come around to what I've been saying for a long time. Sometimes it takes hours, sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes decades. But they always do come around eventually. Gary in Penticton. Gary with 2 R's. He says, now that's a Florida shirt. Leafs still a mess, and now add the Canucks. You can also add Curling Canada. He says, great show. Safe travels to you and Moose. Well, I'm not going anywhere. Moose is driving all over the hell. I'm not going anywhere till Tampa Bay on Saturday, and that's going to be big fun. Ron in Calgary, where we're very big in Calgary. He says, really great interview for fans who want to know what officiating looks like. I know, right? And I learned something in that. Sports update, Andrew Harris signing a one-day contract to retire as a Winnipeg Blue Bomber. The Professional Women's Hockey League returns to action tonight with games in Montreal and Ottawa. Jays sending righty Yariel Rodriguez to the mound tonight in Kansas City as the Jays look to go up 2-1 in the 4-game series. 2 NBA games tonight, Miami at Boston, New Orleans at OKC, because I am following the NBA. Sports update is for Common Crown and for Landmark Cinemas. Wednesdays are made for movie twosomes. That's today if you want to go to a movie. Check it out at landmarkcinemas.com. 2 admissions, 2 medium fountain drinks, a large popcorn, and your choice of candy for one great low price. Check out the scenes at landmarkcinemas.com. And we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy it all, everybody. Noon Eastern, right here on Game Plus and Key Radio.
Who has more fun than us?